What's good, my boy? Awareness is the starting point that you, it's the starting reward from some of these things like meditation, journaling, all these little practices that sound very generic and trite nowadays, but it is the first initial reward per se that you gain from them. In in my point of view, awareness is the most powerful tool you could ever have for me, even through all my hedonic pleasures and shit like that I've struggled with in the past, to trying to dampen my mind with fucking copious amounts of weed and alcohol whenever I was a lot younger. I was always what I considered cursed with this self awareness. And my self awareness that I was cursed with in the past, that I thought was a curse, was things like social anxiety. Oh, I'm so fucking aware that I'm like fat and ugly. Oh, I'm so aware that I made this one little weird movement and everybody can see it and everybody's judging. And I kind of buried the idea, or tried to. It never went away. I tried to bury the idea of self awareness. And part of that became whenever I discovered this whole self improvement thing, my self awareness inflamed. And I was introduced to all these things that I had been doing and given reasons why they're negative. So my self awareness went off the fucking rails of like just fucking beating myself up every single time I would make a mistake when trying to change. But I realize now that not everybody is this way. I guess it's a blessing that I've always been pretty self-aware, but I'll tell you a story of a man who proved to me that a lot of people are not self-aware. A year ago, I met this man who has now become my mentor whenever it comes to building houses. Whenever I first met this man, he had two houses, one of them an acre on the water, beautiful stone homes. He had a wife. He had multiple automobiles, 5 or 6 brand new motorcycles, spending money like I've never seen someone spend it in the thousands of dollars. He had a fucking craft he had worked on his whole life and was very, very skilled at it. He had all these things that I wanted at the time. And due to his lack of self awareness over the course of this year, this man now has been divorced. He's has one automobile and it's not any of the ones he started with. He's having to sell his house. He's in copious amounts of debt. I've literally seen this man's life crumble before my eyes. Now, he's resilient. He stood tall during it, and it's a commendable thing that he has. But the thing that initiated this downfall, I witnessed the man still participate. His downfall started with an addiction to sex, to women, without screening, without standards, the only standard being beauty for him. He thought with his dick and not with his brain, and I've quickly seen that fail him. And the awareness comes in where it's literally ruined his fucking life to some extent. He's still alive, of course. He still has time on this planet. But I've seen this happen to him, and he still chases the hedonic pleasure of women who he only likes for their beauty, and he talks about it all the time. And he's not self-aware enough to realize this. And I know this is a small, kind of specific example, but there's millions of people out there who have this same level of lack of self-awareness. And self-awareness, it can go into so many categories of being aware of so many things. For me, sometimes it's detrimental, but being aware of every little fucking thing that I'm doing, positive and negative, and evaluating it, evaluating the present moment, not the future, not sitting there playing out some fucking thing in my head, but thinking about what I'm doing in a present moment and evaluating and being able to consciously think about what I'm doing is very fucking important. Now, if I make mistakes, it can be kind of detrimental, but that's a whole other video on its own. The first and most rewarding thing you can become aware of is time. Time being the most important tool, most important thing in your life. Whatever we have it feels like you have a long time. But whenever I think back to going into high school in 2017, that feels like fucking yesterday. You hear older people all the time say, "Oh man, that feels just like yesterday," and they're talking about something that happened 40 fucking years ago. You see older people all the time who don't feel like they're older. The only thing that makes them aware of it is if they look in a mirror or if their fucking knees or joints or back starts hurting them. Time is of the essence, and it is the most important thing ever for you. Not on a long time horizon. On a long time horizon, none of our lives fucking matter at all. Which also is an added constraint with the time thing. Because when you add the two together, you get, there's no fucking reason not to make this life for you, not to do what you want to do in this life, not to develop freedom to do things and freedom from things physically and from things mentally. Time, constantly being aware of, is this what I want to be doing? Is this what I should be doing? What I'm doing now is going to impact a year from now. Is it positive for me? Is it something that I truly want to be doing? So many people get confused whenever they talk about, I'm going to go off on a little ramble here from the whole awareness thing, but so many people get confused when they talk about hard work and finding things that they like. You find things that for most people would be hard to do consistently, but you like doing it so much that it isn't. Not meaning that it won't be from time to time, but for the majority, most consistently, you enjoy doing it and you do those fucking things. That's purpose, that's passion, that is goal, that is this whole fucking mystical thing that people have such a hard time quantifying in their fucking brain of, what is the meaning of life? What should I be doing? I'm lost. I'm young and lost. Most of them have a fucking hobby. Find a way to monetize it and do it. It's going to take a while. It's going to be hard. Just do it. Once you become aware of time, the concept of how small of an amount of time we have, it's absurd not to. So, awareness of time. Next would be an awareness in the material world, an awareness of actions, an awareness of small habitual things you might do throughout the day that you either want to do or you don't want to do. Now, this can tie a little bit into discipline and shit like that, but for the most part, do you take the action of driving yourself to the little fucking job you hate day in, day out, and you feel like there's no way out? Be aware and stop doing it. Find a way to stop doing that. If it means you have to plan for fucking 3 months, do it. If it means you have to quit on the spur of a moment with no fucking savings and figure it out and really test if you're this smart individual you think you are, do it. Are you doing weird little habitual things that are fucking abnormal and maybe even detrimental to you? Are you addicted to your phone? Are you addicted to pornography? Are you addicted to just bullshit things that are fucking toxic? Find a way to quit doing them. Be aware. Be aware. For me, I've struggled a lot in the past with pornography addiction. And I've always tried to dampen it the most in my head of just like this thing I get for a release. But then I started allowing my awareness to pierce through and start making this habit that I'd done since I was like fucking 8 years old, start making it seem negative. And I would use my awareness and I'd be like, what is causing this? Well, every single time I go on this app, every single time I go to this website like Twitter or Instagram, it sparks my interest to want to do this habitual thing, and otherwise I would never do it. Let me go a little bit further with the awareness. Every single time I'm sitting on the fucking couch or sitting in a chair, not productively doing anything, not that it's bad to rest, not that it's bad to maybe watch a TV show, but instead of sitting there and resting, meditating, watching a fucking TV show, anything, any static task I would be doing, if I allow myself to open up my phone and start fucking scrolling on Twitter or scrolling on Instagram, which I don't even want to be doing in the first place, but if I allow that boredom to control me and not allow myself to control my actions, but allow the boredom to run free, for some reason, I end up wanting to fucking play with my wiener to emit pixels. What is that? Well, maybe I should kind of eliminate that from my life. Maybe I should try my best to eliminate the action of just sitting around bored, scrolling on social media until I fucking do something that I don't want to do. Simple as that. That's awareness. That's identifying an action and canceling it out and realizing why you're doing it. That's material, physical, habitual things. It goes so much deeper. Because, like I said at the very start of this video, mindfulness, awareness, both similar sides of the coin, is literally entry level. This shit never stops developing. For the most part, it shouldn't regress unless you turn it off. But it never stops growing and developing and getting better. And it going deeper than the physical side of things, I have no enemies. I've done a couple, I like doing different meditation practices every once in a while, like the visualization ones. There's like the mountain meditation, there's the zoom out meditation. And I like doing this one that I saw from this artist dude, David Cho, the fucking millionaire that painted the Facebook shit, been on Joe Rogan a bunch. And he talks about this meditation of like sitting there and thinking about people you love, thinking about people who you really cherish, then think about people you absolutely hate. And it was like this long meditation that brought you to thinking about people you hate and then eventually visualize giving them a hug or some fucking gay shit like that. But I was stumped. I really couldn't think of anybody in my head that I had a fucking hatred for. At all. At all. I used to be a very resentful fucking person, and I had no person in my head. The emotion of anger. Now, in no way what I'm about to say, it's going to sound very, very self-centered and like I'm full of myself. I'm not a yogi. I'm not a fucking master meditator. I very seldom consistently meditate to start with. But I find myself not bursting out in bits of anger. I find myself not being sad all the time. I find myself being able to turn off depression like that when it used to consume me to the point where I would consume fucking 20 shots of alcohol on a daily basis. And for some reason, unless I actually try to be angry, like say I did a job for somebody that was worth like $300 or $400 and it was like a day job and I got it done because I work construction. This is kind of how you work it. And they for some reason didn't pay me. This has happened once before. I remember getting in the past this happened. Fucking angry. Super angry. And I had awareness then, and it was almost like I could feel myself allowing myself to be angry, allowing myself to act out and do stupid shit. Like, I remember I grabbed this fucking bamboo stick on my back porch and started beating it like I was fucking pissed off. And I remember sitting in my head during this time being like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? And it felt good to release it, so I was just kept doing it. But in my head, I was still like, what the fuck? Now, I'd never even pick up that stick. I really seldomly find myself even allowing myself to be that angry at things. I might be like, oh, whatever, I guess I'll go do something else. Because I'm aware of the fact that nothing I could do could change that at all. That the fucking mistakes I make, the actions that get fucked up, the external things that I have no control of, why would I get angry? Why would I get sad about that shit? Unless I enact a form of violence towards somebody, there's no way around it. That's awareness and freedom from these things that you don't want to be doing in your head. Freedom from so many people walk around in a day-to-day situation. They walk around playing out things in their head, living little fantasies in their head, thinking a million thoughts a minute about bullshit in their fucking head. What if you could just have silence? Not complete silence, but maybe a directed path a majority of the time, and it's not just scattered chaos. That is possible. That's possible. I don't know if it's just for meditation, because I'm not the most consistent meditator. Okay? But what I am is the most consistent person I know in doing the things I love and trying to stay disciplined and regimented in those things that I love, and not just allowing myself to just be free, go with the flow and do all the things. Go with the flow with external things that you have no control of in life, like problems and people you meet and things like that. But be disciplined and regimented with the things you do have control over. Okay? This might come across as like a hippy-dippy fucking honky namaste type video. Not really like that, but this is just a thought of how impactful the practice of awareness is when wielded as a tool. It will truly change your whole life. And it is a constant struggle because it never is perfected unless you probably became some fucking yogi in the mountains. And I am guessing from you watching this video, you probably don't want to do that. Chase paper, enjoy art and nature. Have a good one, my boy. I'll see y'all in the next video.